Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It will do that. Welcome to the Academy of Self-Mastery, where transformation meets action. I am Eugene Holden. I'm one of your guides on this journey of personal growth, mindset shifts, and deep self-awareness. Each episode, we dive into the tools, wisdoms, and strategies you need to break through limitations and step into your highest potential. There is no fluff here. There are no shortcuts, just real conversations, practical insights, and a community dedicated to mastery in every area of life. So, if you're ready to unlock your power, elevate your mindset, and create a life by design, then let's get started. Welcome to the Academy of Self-Mastery podcast. Welcome to the deep end. Let's dive in. Hey, good day, everybody. Good day. It is an exciting day for myself and my beautiful dear friend, Reverend Melissa Moorer-Nobles, who I'll be introducing a little bit later. Again, welcome to the Self-Mastery podcast. And I just want to explain, when you see the logo Self-Mastery, the S is lowercase, and somebody asked me, so why isn't a capital S? Well, because our higher selves, it doesn't need mastering. It's the egoic self that needs mastering, and that's what we're here, to do in this podcast, where we get to talk about stuff that's going on, and then also how do we handle or deal with the stuff that is going on. Not so much to fix stuff that's going on, but to really step into how we are showing up, right? And all of that. I'm going to have my beautiful dear friend Melissa say a few words before I let you know a little bit more about her. What's up, beautiful one?
Thank you, Eugene. And so I just want to say congratulations to you for this divine idea coming into fruition in this time, in this space, because it is so needed now. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you. That's You're what welcome. I want to say right now.
Okay. Well, let me tell you a little bit more about my friend, the Reverend Melissa Moorer-Nobles. Reverend Melissa's ministry is joy. She is passionate about sharing inspiration that supports people in igniting the divine spark within them to transform their lives by, I love this, connecting to yes. Connecting to yes. Melissa uses the technology of spiritual psychology, spiritual practices, and universal principles to companion people in disrupting, I love this, disrupting limiting patterns of thinking, beliefs, and behaviors by making a priority their mind and heart to reveal healing from within.
Yes.
Melissa is a spiritual life coach, an ordained interfaith minister, and an ordained religious science minister affiliated with Centers for Spiritual Living. She has a master's degree in spiritual psychology, and she currently serves as a spiritual leader at Rockland Center for Spiritual Living, which is a New Thought Center in New York. And she'll talk more about that. In addition to her ministry, Melissa is an executive leadership coach and human resource consultant in the not-for-profit sector. She advises clients utilizing a spiritual lens to get to core issues that enable value-centered work and heart-centered leadership to transform culture and the way of being in the workplace. Reverend Melissa lives joyfully in New York with her husband and her twin daughters. Yes. Oh, yeah. By the way, Davy the cat.
Don't leave out Davy the cat.
Can't leave Davy the cat out. So you can catch Reverend Melissa on Morning Sip, SIP. It's called Morning Sip with Reverend Melissa, where she provides a dose of inspiration and joy Sunday through Friday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, live stream via YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And I'll put up more information about that a little bit later. Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you,
I'm Eugene.
Eugene. Who
If
are
you
you, Eugene? Who are you?
Who am I? I am Eugene. I am also a spiritual leader and spiritual life coach, business coach, personal coach, speaker, writer, musician. I'm a lover of life, and I am just here to be that channel through which spirit gets to live, move, and have its being through me. You know, Melissa, I realized that I have been writing for the Science of Mind magazine for 18 years.
Wow, Eugene.
Consistently,
Wow.
consistently. Right. And yeah, I just thought about that 3 days ago. So my whole thing is about, again, my purpose is to inspire people, to joyfully inspire others to, as you has mentioned, to joyfully inspire people to remember who and what they are.
Yes.
For me, that's
Yes.
divine beings of light, and together, we get to reveal what heaven on earth, whatever heaven is for folks. It's, for me, it's ever expanding good, right? It's not something that we go to in the by and by after the day we die. It's right here, it's right now. So and that's why we're here. The Academy of Self Mastery is here to assist folks in waking up and waking up to who we are. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And it is so exciting. I was sharing with Eugene, we were praying in, right? Because that's what we do. And it feels like this is the appointed time and this is the anointed time for everyone to step more fully into who they truly are. So I'm excited, Eugene. I
Yeah.
am excited.
Yeah. So, it's also, folks, we want to say that before we went live, we're like, okay, well, there's no script here. Right? There's no script. And truthfully, we really don't need one.
Mm-mm.
Because it is really about how do we deal with the stuff that's going on. And we say, okay, well, what's going on? If you don't know what's going on around life, then it's like, okay, where have you been? We need to talk about that.
Yes.
But there's stuff that's going on, right? The current administration, no matter how you voted or whatever, right? But there's stuff that's going on. Or even, let's make it more personal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe someone in your family is going through some stuff, right? The
Mm-hmm.
illnesses, or they can't pay, their mortgage or whatever, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
this thing called life.
Yes.
This
Yeah.
is this thing called life. So
Yeah.
how do we deal? How do we maneuver? I was going to say function, but I don't want to use that word. How do we maneuver? How do we navigate,
Navigate. Yes. Yes.
you know,
Yes.
through this thing called life? Because it's really not about burying our head in the sand. In fact, we've been doing that for way too long.
Way too long. And so, yeah, I think we keep it close, um, and personal.
Yeah.
And we just see where we go.
Yeah.
And what's been up for me, and I've shared this with you, is dealing with the passing of my
Hmm.
grandniece,
Hmm.
grief. And many people are experiencing grief, loss on many different levels, right? And so, what do you do with that? How do you wake up and get out of the bed and do the things that you need to do in the midst of feeling grief and feeling whatever comes with that? How do you master yourself, small s, when you are going through this feeling that you just want to stay under the covers, you just want to stay under the covers. So what do you do? And so what I do is I reached out for support And one of the people that I happened to reach out to for support, do you know who it was, Eugene? I'll give you one guess.
Is he in the room?
He is in the room. He is in the room. I reached out to my brother, Eugene, for support, because the thing about self-mastery is knowing that you don't have to master it alone.
Right.
You don't have to master it alone. That there is company. There is divine company. And so that's how I started to move through and just be with the feelings of grief that were accompanied with judgment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, reaching out, because sometimes the ego, well, let me speak about myself. In the past, my ego was such that I wouldn't ask for help. I can get through this myself. And man, how painful that was. Not only was it painful, but it took so much more time to get through it. Right. And so I got to a point, there was an experience I had the beginning of 2023. Wow, how time flies. 2023, where I had a medical procedure. You remember this, where it was only supposed to be, the procedure was going to be about 2 to 2.5 hours long, 3 to 4 day stay within the hospital. Turned out to be a 5.5 to 6 hour procedure and an 18-day stay. Right. And during that time, it was such an experience. There was so much that was going on, physically, of course, but emotionally and spiritually and mentally. But there was a day where I just couldn't take it. I was in tears, and I reached out. I reached out to a really good friend of mine, and I was in tears, like, man, I can't take this. And he just sat there and talked me through it. And we were off the phone in about 6 minutes or so. But the point is, when we are going through things, reach out. Reach out. One of the best things that I love is my phone, because I have contacts in here that I can call. I remember calling my beautiful friend Melissa almost a year ago, just going through stuff. I'm like, oh my God, I'm in fear. What do I do? She goes, Eugene, you know what to do. So the point is, my brothers and sisters, is in going through that, as Melissa said, and mastering that little egoic self, one of the things we are to master is having the courage. Let go of whatever the thought is that, okay, I shouldn't be asking for help because I'm Eugene Holden. Yeah, right. How's that been working out? Right. But to master that part of ourselves, to swallow that false pride and reach out.
Yes.
Reach out.
Yes. Yes. It's like, I think about the times when because this is relatively, I have not reached out more in my life than I have reached out. Right. So it is a practice for me, because I do that. Like you said, the ego self believes that you got this, girl. And it does take moving out of my comfort zone to reach out. Even today, I don't wait until I feel comfortable to do anything, because the feeling of uncomfortable is an indication to me that this is what I need to be doing.
Yeah. When
I feel too comfortable, that's when I get suspicious.
Yeah.
So that feeling of uncomfortability is an indication to me, and my ego don't like it, but it's an indication to me that, yes, this is the direction that you need to go with, whatever it may be. But in this instance, we're talking about reaching out to other people for support. Feel uncomfortable? Oh no, I can't call that person. Call that person. Yeah. Call that person and reach out to them.
Yeah. Yeah. You just reminded me of, I'm going to flip this a bit, right? Where you might be upset at someone. They pissed you off over whatever, right? And they're a loved one, a good close friend, but the ego, that little small self, will keep me from picking up the phone to call them to say, hey man, let's talk about this. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right. So again, reaching out. Here's the thing that I know, Melissa, as human beings, we love being with human beings. For the most part. Now, there may be some human beings that you may not want to be around, but that's okay because there are another billion folks to be around, right? But the thing is that as human beings, we love being in connection.
Yes.
We love that connection.
Yes.
So one of the things that I ask people when they come to me going, God, I don't like that person and they pissed me off. I'm like, okay, all righty. So what is it that they did, or what is it about them that is upsetting you? And then I ask the question, which has them want to hang up the phone if we were on the phone, is okay, so how are you showing up like that? Or do you show up?
Yes.
Like that. Maybe not how are you showing up like that, but also is there something that comes, are you a part of that? Or, yeah. But see, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, right. We need, I love, let me complete a sentence. We reflect back to each other, right? We are reflections for each other. And I especially love, I'm married. I've been married for 22 years. We're about to celebrate 23 next month. And my husband is the perfect reflection for me to check myself on the way I'll be showing up sometimes, So, even especially in our very close relationships, when the other triggers something, let's say within us, it is an opportunity for me to check in with myself to see, okay, how do I show up that way? Is this familiar? Is this something that I do too?
Yeah.
And usually the answer is yes. Yes, I do this very same thing.
Yeah.
And then I confess, I do that. And then we can have a conversation,
right?
Because then the egos are out of the way,
right?
And the heart is present.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing. The heart is present. The heart is present. Like I had mentioned to you before we went live, that I'm in this new relationship that is fantastic across the board. And one of the things that my beloved talks about is coming from the heart. Always coming from the heart. And even before this, in doing retreats or workshops and laying the groundwork and talking about listening, not only listening to that person with listening to what they're saying, but listening to what's not being said, which takes listening from the heart.
Yes.
What I love about being divinely human and humanly divine is we are energetic beings. So for me, listening with the heart is, let me feel you. Let me feel what's going on. And relationship, like the one that you and your lovely husband are in, relationship is a beautiful, beautiful spiritual practice. It's a beautiful way to really learn about who you are.
Yes. And I love that you said spiritual practice. I'm trying to think of I think it's in Seat of the Soul by Gary Zukav. He has a whole chapter about spiritual partnership. And one of the things that he says about spiritual partnership is that the person that you're with, it becomes a spiritual partnership when you are invested in each other's spiritual growth.
Beautiful.
Right? Being invested in each other's spiritual growth is spiritual partnership. And guess what? That takes practice.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I don't feel like being invested in your spiritual growth because you don't piss me off.
Right. Keeping it real.
Yes. And so then I go and I do my spiritual practice to get myself back into my right frame of mind. And then I can go back and have a conversation that's not extra crispy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we need each other for that.
Right.
We need each other for that.
Right. Yeah.
So if we could think about the person in our lives who just triggers us, pisses us off the most, we could know them personally or not. What qualities of them pisses you off? And then hold up the mirror and see if that's present within you as well.
Right.
And then what are you going to do about it?
And what are you going to do about it?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because awareness without action is just what?
Awareness. I had a teacher, Dr. Libby Adams, years ago, a mentor of mine who dubbed me Eugenius.
I love that so much.
Eugenius. And it took me years to finally own that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It took me years because I believe that names are powerful.
Yes.
And I used to say way back then, like, awareness is key. Awareness is key. And one day she looked at me, she said, Eugene, yeah, awareness is key. But if you don't put the key in the ignition and start the car, you go nowhere. It's like, okay, all right, Dr. Libby. So it's like, okay, awareness is key, but what do you do? But if you don't use it,
yes,
then it's wasted.
Yes.
Yeah. So becoming aware of that little small self, that small s self, becoming aware of how it gets in our way of loving. Ooh, really? Yeah. How does my little egoic self get in the way of me loving? Me loving me loving that person, me loving life, me loving the job that I may not love. How does my egoic self, how does that smallest self get in the way of my loving?
Yeah. What just dropped in for me is loving my egoic self.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's a vehicle. It's another relationship.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And when we ignore it, it will not be ignored.
It will not be
ignored. It will not be ignored. And for me, I can recall times in my life when I attempted to do so, and things just got worse because I'm not dealing with what is.
Right.
I'm not dealing with what is. So, we all have egos. And how do we relate to the fact that we are human beings and we have egos to master our lives?
Yeah. The ego is so somebody, I loved the way that this was put. The ego, because, at the time, it was like, you got to crush the ego. You have to, squash the ego. And this person said to me, the ego is like a little small two-year-old child.
Yes.
Would you want to crush a child? Would you want to, squash a child? Nah. And you can ignore the child, but that child is going to throw a tantrum. Until it's listened to. Yeah. And here's the thing, right, Melissa, is we all want to be listened to. We all want to be heard. My ego years ago, man, and I think I had just become a licensed practitioner. So this is 2005, 2006 or so. My life was, what's that spiritual word I like to say? That life sucked. Life sucked. And And I had to have this come to Jesus meeting conversation. I had to have a serious talk with that part of me because I know that all I wanted to be was seen. That's all I wanted. And I had in my mind that this is a 2-year-old child driving the bus and it can't see beyond the steering wheel and it's driving the bus into the wall. And that's what I said to it. You're driving the bus into the wall and it hurts. It hurts. So why don't we put you in the back seat in the child seat and let's let the divine drive and see how much we will be seen.
Yes.
Next thing I know, you're writing for the magazine, you're doing retreats, you're speaking at places. I'm like, yeah. But it took bumping my head. It took the bus wrecking into the wall over and over and over and over and over again before I'm like, okay, we can't do this anymore. Yeah. Like, let me look at that little small self. What is up with this?
Yeah. Yeah. I love the visual of that, Eugene, like inviting it to get into the position of the car seat, right? Secure, you know, right? Feeling safe, feeling seen, feeling cared for, you know? Because oftentimes in many conversations, you're right, the ego is seen as like this enemy.
Right.
That we have to conquer. And it's not. It's an aspect of ourselves that is seeking to be integrated, to be acknowledged.
And it's brilliant.
Yes.
It's brilliant.
Yes, it has so much information that we can use. So I'm going to use that as a visual the next time I feel myself going somewhere. Say, okay, let's just put you in the car seat and let the divine drive this for wherever we're going with
wherever we're going. You know, let me put you in the car seat because I love you.
Yes.
Because I love you.
Yes.
You know, so the mastering of the self is really about becoming, is getting to love that part of ourselves.
Yeah.
Man, how many of us, okay, let me speak about myself. I remember, Melissa, they're looking at parts of myself that I just did not love, just did not like. You know, and blamed myself for things that have happened in the past. Well, had you not done that or this or whatever, right? And, you know, those things in the past, it was just, that was part of what I had to grow through to be here. And it was like, okay, well, let me love myself. So one of the ways that I started to do that was, and I love the term because we hear this all the time, unconditional love. I love you unconditionally as long as you do this.
Right. Right. I love you unconditionally under these conditions.
Under these conditions, right? But when I started to sit with that, you know, truly, you know, for me, unconditional love became, oh, okay, I love you no matter what you say or do. It's unconditional.
Yeah.
I love you no matter what you say or do, or what you don't say or don't do.
Yeah.
And then I turn that upon me. I love myself unconditionally. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Ooh. Do I love myself unconditionally because I made mistakes? Yeah, I love you even with that. No matter what you say or don't say, no matter what I say or don't say, what I do or didn't do.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one of the ways where we get to embrace that lower, that small s self.
Yeah.
Is by loving it.
Yeah.
You know,
and you're calling this the academy.
Come on now.
So what do you do in the academy? You learn, you grow, you experience, you experiment in the academy. It is a field of love consciousness, right?
Come on. Yeah.
Who doesn't want to be in an academy that the curriculum is based in love consciousness? Who doesn't want that?
Oh, I love that.
I'll enroll, right?
Right?
So,
right?
So then that's how we are with all aspects of ourselves. Learning, experiencing, experimenting, growing, healing, surrendering, all of the things that probably most of the folks who are going to be watching this, Eugene, know, right?
Right.
But it's in the practice.
It's in the practice. It's in the practice. And that's why they call it a practice.
Yes. Yes.
You know, we've heard that old line, right? How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and it's not, here's the thing for me about that practice, right? It's not practice makes perfect. It's perfect practice makes perfect. Right? Because I can practice something imperfectly, whatever that means, right? And I can practice being a jerk and do it well, right? Right? But let me practice loving. How about this one? Let me practice loving me. So here's a question for you as we begin to wind this down, Rev. What would be for you a practice of loving oneself?
Oh, wow. So my practice, so what I say about practice is this: practice makes progress.
Ooh.
Practice makes progress.
Yeah.
We're just making progress. Even if that progress is just a teeny tiny itsy bitsy step.
Yeah.
It counts.
I like that.
It counts. So for me, my spiritual practice is my practice because that is where I make the most progress with all the aspects of who I am. It's in my spiritual practice. And what that is for me are a couple of things. Inspirational reading. So, not getting up and jumping into the news, not getting up and jumping into the phone. Inspirational reading, something that uplifts me. The Science of Mind magazine, you could go to a couple of pages in and see the affirmations by Eugene Halden.
Page 7.
Inspirational reading. Page 7?
Yeah.
Page 7, y'all. Inspirational writing. I'm a writer. And so writing really helps me to get out of my mind, out of my head, out of all of the chatter, just writing things out. Prayer is it's everything. It's just affirmative prayer is everything. And then I practice transcendental meditation. So that is twice every day, 20 minutes of transcendental meditation. And then walking. I love to walk. It clears my mind. I tune into nature. Nature has a wonderful practice of love and being unconditional.
Yeah.
And so I pay attention and tune in to nature by walking, not having anything in my ears, listening to anything, just being quiet in nature. So that's how I practice.
Yeah. Yeah. And all of these are really simple. They're not hard.
No.
They're not hard. And I love this time of year in terms of nature. As you know, me being a musician, I love sound. And so birds, oh my God. And the cardinals are back because I can hear them, and So everybody, those are just a few ways that you can use, to practice, mastering that little small self, especially getting out in nature.
Yeah.
And then also sitting down to become still.
Yes.
Now I say to students, or and clients, and I will ask, how many people have a meditation practice? And, folks will raise their hand. I'm like, okay, great. How many have the practice of really sitting down to become still? And so, because when I speak of meditation, I mean just being still so that we can hear. And my meditation is gardening. I'm like, great. And all of that is good. It really is. And don't stop that. Just start to put into that practice into your day, even if it's 3 minutes, just get still.
Yeah.
And then just tune into the breath.
Yes.
Tune into the breath.
Yes.
Which, by the way, in some languages, breath is the translation for the word spirit.
Yeah.
Breathe. Yeah.
And the wonderful thing about being still that I love, oftentimes I think about the ocean. And when you're looking at the ocean, there's all this activity, you know, on the surface of the ocean. But then when you drop down into the ocean, the deeper you get, it's more still.
Yeah.
There's still all this activity going on,
Right.
right? You could substitute the ocean for the world, all
Right.
this activity going
Right.
on. But then when you drop in, go deeper, there's stillness.
Yeah.
Just waiting for us.
Yeah. Yeah. You're gonna love this, Rev. A number of years ago, you know, because we hear, you know, be the pebble in the pond that creates the ripples, right? Be the pebble. I'm like, have you ever thought about, people focus on the ripples? What about the pebble that we are? The pebble sinks deeper into the stillness. Forget about the ripples. That's already done.
Yes.
It's about maintaining that stillness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That's always available.
That's always available.
Always available. We don't have to create it.
No.
We don't have to go get it. You don't have to pay for it. It is available.
Yeah.
To everyone.
Yeah.
Go within, right? Go within.
And it doesn't take time. Just stop and take a breath or two or three.
Yeah.
That's 10 seconds, 15 seconds.
Yeah.
You know, so when, you know, and I love the breath. And physiologically speaking, the breath signals the body to relax. When we take a deep breath, the body naturally relaxes.
Yes. Yes. Because the body is always drawn to something more satisfying. The mind is always drawn to something more satisfying. Yeah. And so the breath is kind of like the driver of that. Right? Yeah. Thinking about the car analogy again.
Yeah.
The breath is the driver of that.
And breath being spirit.
Right.
The driver. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And many of us, I remember we was having that conversation about, I was in this yoga class and they was focusing on breathing. And the instructor came over to me and said, I breathe backwards. And I was sharing this with Eugene just recently. And she was telling me that I breathe backwards and I need to flip it. And I was like, I didn't even know I was doing that. And then what did you tell me? There's this whole, the breathing backwards thing is how we breathe in the womb.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that blew me away.
So just real fast, so let me explain what breathing backwards is. So when you inhale, the abdomen goes in. Yeah, when you inhale, the abdomen sinks in, and when you exhale, it pushes out. Right. Well, that's how, and it's called embryonic breathing, because that's when we're in the womb. That's how we got the nourishment from the umbilical cord. Then when we're born, you start to breathe through our nose and our mouth. Well, that switched. But it's important. Oh, man. Oh, see, here we go. Because we love the breath, right? And so when we do that reverse breathing mentally, when you inhale and you're contracting the abdomen, imagine breathing all the way to your bone marrow. Check this out, Melissa. So now you breathe in peace. See, because the breath oxygenates the blood, right? So as we breathe in, and you don't have to do the reverse breathing, you can just breathe, you know, and just take nice deep breaths. But knowing that the breathing is oxygenates the blood. So when we intentionally breathe in peace, the blood is being oxygenated by peace or love or stillness, whatever we say, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Right. Yeah. That was something that came to me just a few days ago. It's like, oh, wow, that's deep. So I sat there for a half an hour, and that's what I did. You know, imagining that my blood is infused with peace. With every breath, inhale peace, exhale love.
Oh, could we do that a little bit? Can we invite people to do
Oh,
that with us
beautiful.
now?
Yeah. So go ahead and just get comfortable and bring your awareness to your breath. Inhaling through the nostrils, breathing fully and completely. Inhaling fully and exhaling completely. Inhaling fully. And on this next exhale, allow the body just to let go. Now imagine peace. Inhale peace. Feel peace as the breath. And now exhale love into the world. Do that on your own. Inhaling peace and exhaling love. Hmm.
Mm.
Inhale and exhale.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eugene.
Oh, thank you, Melissa. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in for this beautiful launching of the Academy of Self-Mastery podcast. You can catch us live Thursdays, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, or you can catch the recording on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and there will be other platforms as well coming shortly. Reverend Melissa, my beautiful, beautiful sister, thank you so, so much.
Thank you, Eugene. I am so honored to be on your very first launch of this gift to the world, the Academy of Self-Mastery. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
And
Like
thank you for your yes. Thank you for your yes.
Because this is how we do
Hey.
it. This is how we do it.
Yes,
Everybody,
yes.
peace and blessings to you. Now go out and have a beautiful, beautiful thing called life. And we'll see you next time.
Yes.